broke it. I broke the handle out of my Maul. I've shown you videos of me putting the handle in the Maul before. And today we're going to do something different. We're not going to put a new handle in it. We're going to reuse this broken handle. It's broken off pretty close to the head, and I'll probably explain to you in a little bit why that broke. But it broke off close to the head, so today we're gonna work on putting this handle back in this head. So the first thing I've got to do is get the old handle out of here, the old piece of handle out of the head, and drill some holes. See, I've already drilled a few holes around the wedges to try to give them some space to move to get out of there. And now I'm going to do some hammering and see if I can get things to loosen up. Maybe drill another hole or something. There we go, we got that wedge out. And that will loosen things up. See if we can get the other one out. I got it all to come out. Where'd my wedge go? There it is. Alright, I got the two metal wedges out. And we've got the hole cleared out. Now we're going to work on the head. Or on the handle. We're going to work on the handle. First thing I'm going to do is cut the broken part off. Alright, now we're going to put cut a slot down the handle to accept a wooden wedge. Am I in the right spot?
Yes, you're great.
Oh, it's going to take a long time like this. Don't try this at home, kids. That's not what you want to hear on a how-to video, is don't try this at home, right? Try it out in your backyard. Oh. hard. So we've got a slot in it, and now we need to work on making it the right size to fit in the head. There, I put it up here and I kind of get an eyeball of what needs to come off where. And I'm gonna put a mark on about how deep it's gonna have to go. And now we're gonna do a little whittling. You can do this part with a belt sander or a grinding disc, a pad, sanding grinder, whatever it's called. You can do this with a sander. Now that I got it pretty close, I'm going to take this rasp and kind of touch it up and make sure it's about the same height all the way back. See if that fits. We're going to take a little more off of this side. Give you all a good look at what this looks like. So So now we're going to try to hang the head. Hold on, I'll get it where you can see it in a second. Oh. On second thought, once I started putting it on, you can see right there how tight it is right there, how it kind of crimped the wood in, and a little bit right there. So we're going to do a little more shaping and carving. Let's rasp that a little bit. All right, there we've got a pretty close fit coming on there. Yep. It's important to get your head right side up. Okay, now we're going to do the trick. So I've got the handle, the head just kind of started on there. You can see kind of where we're at. You can see there. And I'm just going to hold it. I don't have it against anything down here. I'm just holding it. Look there. See how far that went in? Look at the sides. We're about where we need to be. I'm going to whack it a few more times. And that is a trick I've learned that is really good about when you're putting handles in. This is something you need to know. The weight of the handle and the inertia of whacking it will drive the head on. And it works better than any other method I've found. There we are. My handle whittling isn't perfect like a machine, so I have to adjust the head a little bit, make sure I've got it on my handle straight, the angle I need.
What angle do you need?
A 90.
Okay.
I need the center of the head to be at a 90 from the handle. So like if you were to draw like a center line through the head, it's got to be at a 90 from the handle, which I just eyeball. You don't 90 this because that's a curve and an angle. Does that make sense?
Yep. So how did you know if your head was up or down?
The print that they use, that's the information when you buy one, is usually where you can, where setting like this, you can read the print.
So it needs to be on the bottom.
That's usually it. Also, there's a taper inside here, and you want the taper at the top so you swell your wedge out and it holds your handle out. And somewhere here, I made a little wedge out of hedge, a wood wedge, and I'm going to drive that in this slot. Then we're going to cut the excess off. Then we're going to take and put the metal wedge in right here. And evidently hedge is a little harder than hickory. And And since I've got 2 wedges, I'm going to use them. I did the last time, evidently. And there you go. We have a handle again. It's about that much shorter than it was before, but still a good handle and gonna work. This is a very frugal thing to do. If you've spent much time trying to make a living with a sledgehammer or an axe or a maul, something you'll learn to do is to replace the handles that just broke off at the end. The reason that those handles usually break off at the end right there, one of 2 things. It's set and water has accumulated around the head and it's rotted right there, or you've missed a lick a time or 2 and struck on the handle and cracked the handle and made it weaker there. And that's what I did with this new handle. I missed a wedge when I was using the sledgehammer part of it and struck a metal wedge right there, caused it to be weak, and then I was splitting with it and broke the handle right off. So one of the things you can do to minimize that, probably should have been done on the new handle, but it's just not something I commonly do, but I'm going to this time, is you can make some sort of guard for this section of your handle. And there's several ways to do that. I've seen it done with PVC, with old poly pipe. I've seen people take old poly pipe and slide it up there and heat it with a heat gun. I've seen they make a rubber sleeve, like a heat shrink sleeve, that you can slide up there and do that with. The really nice, pretty ones, they cut a piece of leather for right here and lace it together. That's beautiful. I'm not going to do anything that expensive or that fancy. You can wrap paracord or bank line there. I'm going to use hay twine today, and we're going to just make us a guard right here in this section so that it cushions any blow against the handle. And that's all we want to do, is create some kind of cushion. You can do this with duct tape. You can wrap duct tape right there. A lot of times duct tape's wrapped there on my handles because I've already cracked it, but it can be a precautionary thing also. So the way we're going to do this is I'm going to hold my thumb, take this piece of baling twine, run it down about past where I want my guard to be, and I'm going to hold that there, and I'm going to take this baling twine and just start wrapping fairly tight. Just lay each piece under the next one. Baling twine doesn't hold together real good, so I'm kind of making sure I've got it twisted fairly tight. So when you get down here like this, you need a little bit of tail, and you'll see why. So we'll run this tail through this loop from the underside, and then we're going to pull on this And this is the trick. A lot of times that's really hard to pull on, and I didn't leave myself much to get a hold of. All right, you see what it's doing? It's pulling that up in there. Pull that all together good and tight. If you're using something slick like tarred bank line, which I like to use, you can buy that in the fishing section of most outdoor stores or big box stores. It will slide a lot better, and it will actually pull the knot, and this one kind of starting to pull the knot up inside this wrapping, but we just got to get it right there tight, and that's going to do good enough for us. What I'm going to do to keep this from being as, my ears are cold.
The wind picked up.
Yep. To keep this from being as frayed, becoming frayed, I'm going to actually, I'm going to melt the ends if I've got enough fluid left in my lighter.
You had plenty of fluid in there.
Huh?
There was plenty of fluid in there.
I'm sorry I have to block the wind to make this work. Hopefully you all understand what's going on. Okay, melted that end. Now we're going to melt this end right here. You know what? We need a bigger flame. Okay, we melted that in a little bit. There you have it. We have remounted the head, rehung the head on a broken handle. We cut it off, repurposed the handle, and we've made a guard on it out of some old baling twine. We made a guard on it, and we've got it ready for put back in action. I'm probably going to touch up the edge a little bit. It is a splitting maul, not an axe, so the edge isn't as important. I'm going to touch it up a little bit with the smooth side of this rasp, and we will put this back in action. So I have just taken the rough curled edges off of that where it's hit stuff it shouldn't have hit, rocks and whatever. It's not sharp by any means, but it is more of a tapered point so that it'll get a good bite in the wood. That's all you really need on a maul. I do sometimes, if I'm using a grinder, I go ahead and sharpen them because I know they won't stay that way very long. But I've just got this just down where it'll bite good, and it is ready to put back in action. I hope that is gonna work okay.
We're ready.
All right. Sometimes with a maul, I take little bites off the side and try instead of trying to split something down the middle, especially something like this. It's got a big knot or a crotch in it. And Little Maul's doing its job.
Hedgewood.
Yeah, this hedge is pretty yellow color, but it's very hard. And I think it puts out about as many BTUs as any wood you can burn. It puts out a very hot fire, but it builds a very hot bed of coals and lasts a long time. All right.
Close this out. Come on up and close this out.
Well, hopefully you guys have learned something or enjoyed watching me blunder around. It's a very frugal practice to reset a head or rehang a head on a broken handle. And living right on a highway, it's a little hard to film sometimes.
Here comes an
But we've just shown you how to rehang that head, and I hope you realize that there's lots of things you can fix instead of buying new. And just because things have broken doesn't mean they're useless. They still have value, and some of them do. And that a broken handle is definitely one of those that you can still use, even for other things. And maybe that's another video. But so I hope you remember that God made you special. He loves you very much, and we'll see you later.